Hey everybody, it's Carlos with the Nerd Day podcast. How you doing today? Coming back at you. Uh, Another video. Really surprising. I wonder if you guys know what this one's about. If you're, I guess I'd just say show. I guess right because there's an audio component. I tend to ramble on these things. I'm rambling right now. Yeah. Well, anyway, surprise, surprise. This episode is all about Miles Morales. It will be my spoiler-filled uh, Miles Morales review, I guess. I just recently purchased Spider-Man Miles Morales for my base PS4, so that's where I'm going to be talking the most about, and um, it'll be interesting to see what I'm going to have different opinions than a lot of people will, but I obviously playing on a base PS4 when this is a PS5 game, so it'll be interesting to see how the dichotomy within that and how that plays toward review process, because you can tell that with a lot of other people there's like, hey, the game's short but it looks beautiful, but a lot of them are playing on a PS5. They provided like PS5s and things like that. So yeah, I recently just purchased Miles Morales. I want to say I want to say it was before New Year's. I purchased it. Yeah, I purchased it before New Year's. Just got that. Started playing right before, like right. It was right after Christmas, before New Year's. So it was like, I mean, still we're in the winter time right now. Currently in the northeast section of the United States where I am at, there's a nor'eastern going on, so there's a bunch of snow and stuff. But there's a huge storm going on. But it was interesting to see like being in that time frame of like, hey, it's Christmas time. I'm drinking coquito, and you know, first mission, Miles talks to his mom, who doesn't know he's Spider Man, and it's like, hey, running. He's like, where are you at? You should be home by now. He's like, oh, hey, sorry, they didn't have coconut milk at the place, and like immediately, my touchstone was like, I know why Rio Morales needs coconut milk. She needs to make it for coquito, so she can have a couple drinks later on. If you're Puerto Rican, you know, and immediately like those little touchstones and just being back in the world of Marvel Spider-Man, Insomniac Spider-Man, should I say. I felt like it was like familiar in so many ways, playing Marvel Spider-Man, or again, what I refer to as Insomniac Spider-Man, was such a treat, and just living and breathing in that world as Peter Parker and just living and thriving New York City, and playing all that DLC, like The City Never Sleeps DLCs. It felt like such a realized world that Insomniac did and created, and they made their own Peter, they made their own New York, they made their own Norman Osborn, and Doc Ock, who has like their own issues and own origin stories that differ from 616 continuality. If you're a comic book fan, 616 is the main Marvel universe. I forget what this one's designated as in their multiverse. But yeah, it was so realized, and it took one of my favorite characters and just added some nuances and some things that they did were just incredible. And like, spoilers obviously for, I'm spoiling this game, and we spoil the 2018 one. That whole end scene with Peter and defeating Doc Ock, and being angry with him, like he knew this whole time he was Spider-Man, and he looked like he was going to kill him, at one point. And that's and it's because Aunt May's hurt. She's got this virus and all this stuff, and this Insomniac nails that one beat. And at the end, and I remember playing. It was like 2, 3 in the morning, maybe. I designated myself. I'm gonna beat this game. My son's asleep. I'm beating this game. I'm doing it. I'm sitting there, and we get to the end, and Aunt May is dying, and Peter has a choice: give the virus to her and lose the only sample, or pardon me, the antivirus, and Devil's Breath, and lose that ability to save so many other people, but she'll be safe, and or synthesize a antivirus that will save all of New York, but the time it would take, that Aunt May will perish. And Peter's struggling. He's full Spider-Man garb, and Aunt May wants a minute alone with him. And Peter walks to her, and she says, sorry, getting emotional. And she says, I want to see my nephew one last time. And he takes his mask off. He's tearing up. I'm tearing up. I have my wife. She's tearing up because it's just emotional, and like it was so well done. And she tells him she's proud of him and the hero that he's been, and like not to hold all this grudge in and stuff like that, and to do the right thing. And that's what Peter does, right? He does the right thing. And to see a Peter on the other side of something that we, as comic book fans, if you're like a diehard comic book fan, you don't get to see often, is a Peter without Aunt May. A Peter who is finally, I guess, and not in a bad way, on their own. They have to find out where their life is. They're an adult now, obviously, but still not having an Aunt May and Uncle Ben, Mary and Richard Parker in their lives, and having all this responsibility and learning, like, hey man, life is gonna be crazy, but like, I guess we're so trained, especially with comic book fans, that you're so trained to be like, hey, it's the end, right? Peter loses Aunt May, it's the end. And it could have went that route, and he doesn't. He moves on with his life. He starts building a relationship back with Mary Jane. He is still Spider-Man. Not because he feels like vengeance, and he has to, like, no, because that's his job. He has great power, so he has a great responsibility to do that. There too must come great responsibility. And it's just beautiful, like, how they handle it. I thought that was one of the best things as a Spider-Man fan to see. It was like, oh, how do we get past this? Like, how do we go past this next line? And I thought it was brilliantly crafted. And moving on to see Miles and the level of dedication that Insomniac has to capturing the like, being Puerto Rican, being black, being in New York. I mean, there are obviously some things to say about, like, Marvel reflects the real world in a lot of ways, and in this case, I mean, Miles does say some things like, I should probably get out of here before the cops blame me for something. Like, yeah, but it's 2021, January, at the time of recording, and we've witnessed a lot of stuff in 2020, and police brutality and police not responding correctly to, like, people of color is not something new in history, in life. So yeah, I understand where there's some think piece articles and people who are like, obviously, wanted to be addressed and want to see something new happen with that, and we don't have that. So it'd be interesting to see where the next Spider-Man goes, especially in relationship with the NY or PDNY, or whatever they call it. I forget. I think it's PDNY in the Insomniac verse. It'll be interesting to see where we go from there. But to double back to the beginning and have something immediately, like, first few minutes, so uniquely Puerto Rican and so uniquely black, and Miles makes beats and he wears Timbs. Like, he wears Timbs, and if you're from, like, the Northeast quarter, or I don't know, I guess, like, just New York, Philly, Jersey, and he lived that life, like, not even lived that life, like, Timbs, like, he's wearing Timberland boots, he's got headphones, he makes beats, he's so uniquely himself. He has a style on his own. He has an aura to him, and his relationships with Genki, seeing Genki realized for really the first time in any media outside of comic books. We have, like, a Genki version of Ned Leeds in the Spider-Man, movies from Sony and Marvel, but that's still Ned Leeds. That's not Genki. And now we have Genki in the world, and we have Rio, and a world where Rio is still around, but Jefferson is not. And what does that say for Miles? Where does it lead him? And moving to Spanish Harlem, like I have family that's from there, and I've been there and seen these street festivals. Like I spent summers there, seeing these street festivals and seeing people just live their life, and it's rough, but it's fun, and it's community, and it's amazing what people can do, and when they band together and their togetherness and just unique cultural vibes that everyone embraces everything. It's so beautiful that this was captured. And I mean, I teared up. I teared up at Miles making saying, "Oh, mom, I gotta get coconut milk." Like, I immediately know. And you don't have to tell me that he's making coquito, and coquito is this, I know. And it's beautiful. And seeing, like, he goes home and seeing the flag, seeing my flag. Sorry, getting oddly emotional, but seeing my flag represented in game was beautiful, absolutely wonderful. And, seeing the cookies in the bathroom and around the house, and I don't know, and like his sketches, like Miles' sketches for a costume like that is truly his own. I heard like he's like, all right, I want to take the Puerto Rican flag and I kind of want to make it like this, like my costume, to show who I am. It's just uniquely beautiful, and just hearing the Spanish music, oh my god, dude, just everything about it, and the hip hop tracks that they chose to have in game hit on such a good level. I know some people have criticized it. It was like, oh, they're trying to be like Into the Spider-Verse with music, and you have Jaden Smith has a song on the Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack. That's also, he has a song on here that's different, but so uniquely Miles. It works really well. I know some people criticize that. I thought it was really well done. It was just interesting, and then meeting these new cast of characters and these new takes on like Finn, the Tinkerer, and a lot of people say, and if you're a Spider-Man fan, the best Spider-Man stories are Peter Parker stories, and I guess in this case they're both Spider-Man. So something that's uniquely personal to that Spider-Man, or Spider-Person, whether it be Gwen, dealing with her first big villain being Lizard, and that turning out to be her Peter Parker. Peter and Black Cat, that intimate relationship they have, but they also have like, she's a thief, she's bad, and sometimes good, who knows, or having Norman Osborn being Green Goblin, in the comics, and also being like a father figure to him. Like it's so amazing. And then with Miles, you have, spoilers, obviously Finn is the Tinkerer, and it's kind of telegraphed early on, and it's surprising because early on in the story they tell you straight up, like, no, that's a Tinkerer. We were going to spend the whole game telling you or alluding to who that may not be. You can kind of guess it, and we're not gonna like play dumb here. Like, we're not gonna, you're smarter than this as a fan, and we're gonna treat you that way. It's very nice to see that, and it's interesting to also see like where are we, in the world with that. Like, how does Miles cope with that, and having a support system in Genki when Peter's not around? Peter's in I wouldn't say Sokovia, but I was literally watching WandaVision. That's why I said that. Symkaria, and helping Silver Sable, and like they're checking out the Civil War there, and MJ's like, it's like a mini couple / job, vacation, and Peter's checking in on him, but he's giving him his rope. Like, here's your rope. You got this. I trust you. And to come back home and like at the end of the game, and Miles tell him everything, it's like, oh, you really got this. I don't have to worry about it. Especially if you play like post game, like you get like phone calls from him like, hey, so I'm gonna let you do your own thing. I gotta clean up my life. My life is a little crazy right now. Anyway, coming back home, of course, there's weird stuff going on. I got a lot of stuff to. I gotta get a job. A homeowner is crazy, and like you start getting little hints like, oh, like him and MJ are moving in together. Like, this is awesome. You get little updates like that with Peter, but it was cool to see Peter be like, nope, you're your own Spider-Person. I trust you. I love you, bro. You got this. Take a Spider-Man oath. It was cool, and to see Miles like have his own unique storyline and have his unique Spider-Man that's unique to. I'm saying unique a lot. We should have like a counter on the bottom, but I'm not that smart with video editing. He's Harlem's Spider-Man. And they watch out for him, especially if you do all the side missions. Like, it feels so uniquely. Oh man, I keep saying that word. I had to come with a different adjective or like a different like word for that, I guess. Something that is so specifically to Miles. Like, he becomes a hero for this neighborhood. He really is truly your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man for Harlem. And, in New York proper, obviously, he's saving, New York from the Roxxon Corporation and the Tinker and the Underground. But also, in general, I mean, he is just Spider-Man in Harlem. And he learns to love Harlem. And he learns, there's so many things we can touch upon on the story, but just having, like, Rio learn that he's Spider-Man. I thought that was such a great idea and such a great choice. And, you could always have her kind of be in the comics. I thought it was done well enough, but it was also like, I don't blame Bendis for it. It's obviously his character, can do whatever he wants, but like having him like, "What are you doing?" Like, and Jefferson and Miles being like, "We can't tell her, right?" And Jefferson's like, "No, we can't tell her. She'll go crazy." And she finally finds out, and she's like, "I'm worried about you. I'll always be worried about you, but you're Spider Man, and I don't want you to do this, but you have a responsibility and all this stuff, blah blah blah." And having the Rio from Into the Spider Verse and Insomniac being like, "We don't run away from fights. Our family doesn't run away. We fight." And seeing like his abuela, like, it was like, activist, and Rio's running for city council and fighting her own fight in her own way, and having Miles be like the Spider-Man, and having Rio be like, "I support you, I love you, you got this," and having Genki be like, "I support you, I love you, you got this." It was cool to see Miles have this giant support system, and there's so many things that are just so awesome about this portrayal of Spider-Man and Miles Morales specifically. He's such a new character, and he's had so much media just do him justice, and it's very refreshing to see that, especially being like a person of color, and having mixed kids. Like, one of the things I love the most is how much my son, who's half white and half Puerto Rican, just absolutely adores Miles. Loves Miles. He loves Spider Man in general. He loves Peter and Miles, but like something about Miles, like he sees Miles, and he sees like himself, and he's 3, so it's so awesome, and it it just shows that representation matters, and Insomniac killed it with representation in this game. And I'll link down below. Kind of funny is like spoiler cast about it when they speak to one of the developers of Miles Morales, and he talks about like, hey, we talked to a bunch of families in Harlem, and like they were Puerto Rican and black, and we're like, hey, how'd this go? And like, yeah, no, if I said that, like, this wouldn't go, and like they changed lines because of that, and they changed that, and they wanted to make it so authentic to Miles and to New York and to Harlem, and to being Puerto Rican and to being black, that it's so genuine. I think it's so beautifully genuine. And then, I mean, we could just talk about straight spoilers for the story. Like, the story was beautiful. I mean, having something so small and personal, like Finn, her brother dies. I'm gonna fight back. I'm super smart. I'll team up with the Underground and I'll become the Tinkerer. And then get to this massive scale, like Roxxon being, obviously, if you read comics, Roxxon, not a great company, you know, ran by like the Minotaur. That's crazy comic stuff. But in this world, like, you got this Simon Krieger, who Troy Baker killed it. The second I heard his voice, like, oh, he's gonna eat this up, man. He's gonna eat this scenery up. But like having Troy Baker be there and like Miles like fight him, you know, fight Finn, to be like, no, you're going too bad. You can't do this. You have to be better. It was awesome, and it was. I'm constantly impressed just by the scope and scale of how the Spider-Man was. It was a shorter story, but it felt more focused. And Prowler showing up and them having that fight, and Aaron being like, no, I'm not gonna lose another family member. I went back in this family. Da 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 da. Jefferson's dead. I need to be here, and hearing their story through the side mission of like the beats, like the old school beat they created, and it was just, I thought it was so beautiful. And then Prowler coming in there and helping and being like, no, I'm gonna flip on Simon Krieger. I'm put myself in jail. Here's the deal. I want like a lighter sentence, obviously, because I don't want to get out of jail and be a family member, be with this family. But Krieger's a bad guy. I'm gonna flip on him. I'm gonna tell you what he did wrong, and that's how that bad guy gets taken away. Miles gets that respect back for Aaron, and he's like, yeah, he is a good dude. And he did this for because it's the right thing. That was that. I thought that was beautiful, and Finn seeing Miles like, you're wrong. I can help you. Just listen to me. And her revenge just takes over her and encompassing all of her like values and pardon me who she is. And then to see Miles be like, I have to stop this giant explosion. Like I can't let this community get hurt. I'm Spider-Man. I have to do this. This is my responsibility. And try to take all that energy into him. It's just too much. And Finn's like, nope. Like I screwed up. I have to make this right. And by making this right, I need to help my friend. And when she picks him up, and Miles is like, "What are you doing?" And like she's like, "Just it's all right," and just runs up the building. I mean, legitimately in tears. Like I was legitimately about to start tearing up, and just jumping in the sky, and he's just like, just let go. And he's trying to still hold it in, and like his body's weakening. She's like, just let go. Like I'll take this. And I thought that was absolutely beautiful, man. Just that kind of like sacrifice, that kind of like that beautiful thing that Finn did to kind of be like, I messed up. I have to make this right. You showed me my ways. And the inspiration she gets from Miles and people like Rio and stuff like that. She just sees how one-sided her mission was. And it was sad. And Miles recovers, brilliantly, He, obviously in pain that comes with being Spider-Man. It's kind of like on the Spider-Man contract. Like, hey, I'm going to be a Spider-Man. Cool. You're going to experience a lot of pain in your life, but can you overcome it? And he does. And the people of Harlem rally behind him. When people are like, who's the Spider-Man? I'm like, I don't know. Just get out of my way. Block. He gets out of here. And, he's finally recovered and gets, walking around the city, just listening to music, talking to Haley, I'm talking about representation. Who's go to that Haley being deaf and speaking through ALS, and it was beautiful like having her and Miles be able to speak and like and show that off. And he talks to her, and it's a little flirtatious. You can tell. He's going around the city seeing Teo and Spider-Man the cat, and just walking around the city dancing, and just this is his home now. He's their Spider-Man, and they're his family almost in a way, other than obviously his real Rio and Genki, like the city in New York and specifically Harlem is his family. This is what he does, and he has his connection, his roots now. I thought it was so beautiful to see, and I can't wait to see more. I would love to see if there's like some kind of like DLC, but I think we're just gonna get straight up Spider-Man 2. I want to know how that's going to progress, especially because I don't want to lose time with Miles. I mean, technically, we played some of Spider-Man as Miles already, 2018, but he wasn't powered up yet. He wasn't the Spider-Man we know. I would love if it was some kind of like, I guess the best equated, maybe some kind of like open world version of Devil May Cry. 4 and 5, you got to play as multiple characters, see the story from multiple angles in some way, shape, or form. Maybe that it could be something like that. Like, hey, Miles is doing his thing over here, but it's impacting like what's going to happen here, because obviously there is a tease, there is the Easter egg at the end of this game with Norman Osborn and Kurt Connors, and Kurt doesn't have his arm; he's missing his arm. And we'll see where that leads us, where that goes. That'd be interesting to see. But with what is assumed to be Harry, and there's Harry's point of view, so I think he's conscious of it. Looking at Norman, so like, I want him out, get him out, but he's got this black goo on him. So, is it the symbiote? Is it a symbiote, as in man created, or is it a Clintar, as an alien symbiote? For all you super comic book nerds. You know, we have the King of Black going on right now, so that's a fun read. You guys should check that out. But yeah, are we gonna see Venom? A version of Venom, a version of the Black Suit. Does Miles get it? Does Peter get it? Do neither of them get it? Is Eddie Brock involved? Is it just going to be Harry? What's going to happen? So it's going to be really interesting to see where we continue the story. But I think I want to see something that's uniquely. Oh, there it goes with that word again. Damn, man. I should like put a dollar in a jar every time I say unique. I mean, I'm broke, so maybe not. But I should probably anyway. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe we can have something that's like Devil May Cry or 4 or 5, where you can switch off on characters and you're upgrading them as together or something like that. I don't know, but I think that would be really cool because I don't want to lose time with Miles, um, unless they keep going like, oh hey, 2 years from now, here's Spider-Man 2. 2 years from that, here's Miles Morales Part 2. I don't know how you would do it. I just don't want to lose time with Miles, especially after he's been established and how well received he's been, and how generally happy it makes me. So, yeah, those are my thoughts, man. I don't know what you guys think. Did you guys like Spider-Man Miles Morales? What version did you guys play on? Why don't you comment down below? I am hopefully in the future be able to get a PS5, and I would like to replay the game because one of the fortunate things of playing on a base PS4 is my PlayStation sounds like a jet engine, and then during the big like coming out scene where he finally gets the red and black costume that you see right here, um, yeah, there was an issue, and textures weren't loading properly, so it's kind of a bummer. So I think I will actually replay fully story, not even skipping cutscenes, seeing it 4K, HDR, and 60 frames per second. I think they just added that, so it'll be interesting to replay that game. Basically, a new game for me at that point. But yeah, as I mentioned, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this. Positive reviews, negative reviews, funny, like, movie quote behind me. Sorry about that. Trying to get the new setup with everything. But I love you guys. I'll see you guys. Peace.